Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com nightly wrap-up show. Hope everybody is doing well. Guys, take a second out and help the channel. Click a like, subscribe, share if you haven't done so already. And again, hopefully we can guide you and point you in the right direction on a day-to-day basis. So what a difference, right? What a difference 24 hours has made, right? Yesterday, the PPI came out. The initial move was a big gap, and then everything faded, and it looked like the end of the world. And we talked about this every single, pretty much every single day, or every single at least week in the webinar, that every single day, I've mentioned this so many times in the past, every single day, the momentum is only as good as the next day's starting pitcher, borrowing a term from baseball. And what the Bulls couldn't accomplish yesterday, really accomplished today. I think that's an underwhelming statement. If you look at the final tally today, right, and the CPI, they love the number, okay? The Dow was up 700 points or 1.765%. The S&P was up 107 points, right? You don't see that every day. Up 1.83%, and the NASDAQ was up 2.5%. And the difference between yesterday and the difference between today was very technical. If you guys remember yesterday, and we had the video about it, we talked about it, and I said you never, under any circumstances, buy a gap up that's below supply. Remember that? That's exactly why we faded yesterday. Today was a little different, okay? When you woke up this morning and you saw the reaction to this CPI, the market gapped way above, right? Way above the 50-day moving average. And the pre-market, the bulls were sitting in around the 514, 515 area. So the question was, well, were we going to give it all back just like we did yesterday? And, as the day started out, ironically, again, I'll show you the pivots here in a weird way. When the day started out here, I was looking for rejections, right? I was looking for rejections, and the rejections were working. My first trade of the day was AMD, got rejected literally right from the word go, came in about $1 and change very, very quickly. Then I rejected NVIDIA, came in a little bit, right? Came in a little bit, covered, then it just imploded more. And we're saying, all right, here we go, right? Here we go again. Here we go again. The stock market's doing exactly the same thing. And ironically, instead of this time the bulls giving back the 50-day moving average, it got stronger and they got stronger. So I was sitting there, I'm like, all right, now that, we're getting stronger, maybe tomorrow. Okay. I go, maybe tomorrow. And this is around, we were having a conversation around 11 o'clock in the morning. I go, maybe tomorrow, if we can close above the 50-day moving average, it'll start giving us some good value, because as we're climbing back above the 50, so a lot of stocks. But when you looked at kind of like the lay of the land, you saw a lot of names still way below supply. So we had a hunt. And then next thing you know, a buyer comes in, okay? A buyer comes in on Tesla, right? Riot had a good move, as you can imagine. Riot, here's one of the pivots. Riot 1301 needs to build. Riot, again, Bitcoin going nuts. So you had Riot finally getting above this channel here at 13, pretty much closing at the highs here. But the key was this, right? Here's another little stock here. It's nothing really here. But here is it, right? Here is it. So a buyer comes in when Tesla was sitting around 817, right? 417. This buyer comes in and he bets $862,000 for the weekly 425 calls. Again, this isn't a bet for $8,000. This guy's betting nearly $900,000. At that time, it was $8 out of the money with a 2-day rental. And as you can imagine, like the options market really, really does, it lights the fire. And Tesla just got a little stronger. and then got a little stronger, and then it got more stronger, and then it started taking out some pretty heavy levels. So this was the initial pivot here. 422.64 needs to build, and then 428. Why was 428 super duper important? Because 428, when you look at Tesla, right? 428 was this whole channel here that started all the way back to December 30th. So you had a consolidation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 2 weeks. Today is day 11. So you had an 11-day, had an 11-day distribution channel. And we all know the longer the distribution, the higher probability. And Tesla absolutely exploded. I mean, like absolutely exploded, especially in the last hour. And you can see this move just absolutely went wild. And this is now the highest close, right? It reclaimed back this 428 level. This is now the highest close in this whole formation. Now, the question is, well, what happens tomorrow, right? What happens tomorrow with just the rest of the market? Because again, if Tesla going into tomorrow can confirm today's channel, because again, the stock went all the way up to 430. If tomorrow it can confirm today's channel, guys, look how much room you have, right? Look how much absolute room you have. And what I was doing was I was just looking at the option flow just for the next several weeks. Folks, they were coming for the 450s. They were coming for the 470s. They were coming for the 480s. So now that this is the highest close in this whole formation, all it needs to do, guys, is confirm today's price action, and this thing could really, really light up. So very, very, very strong move today on Tesla, highest close in this whole formation. Now, the question is, what happens tomorrow with the rest of the market, right? Since we had this magnificent run, 2.5%, and now we're back above the 50-day moving average on the QQQs. Well, what happens next? Well, let me tell you what happens next. Number one, bulls better not give it back. Right? Because as we all know, these are just levels. At any point, they could give them back. So as long as the bulls are sitting above 513 on any close, and that's the 50-day moving average, we are fine, right? Even if there's some profit taken for tomorrow, the bulls are fine. The problem is if we give it all back and we start closing below 513, that's going to be a problem because we're going to go right back into this range here. So we do not want to see that, okay? Especially if you're a perma bull, which is trades one side of the market. The last thing you want to see is a close below 512, giving back the 50-day moving average. For the bulls to advance, an inside day tomorrow would be fine. And what an inside day basically is, it's a rest, right? It's a rest. It's not taking out the highs, obviously not taking out the lows in the previous day. It's kind of resting. And when a company rests or the whole stock market rests and puts in an inside day, usually that's a bullish sign because the sellers are comfortable at those levels. And then usually inside days follow by a strong resumption the following day. But technically, this is what the bulls need to do, right? You see this 518 level here, right? You see this 518 level? 518 would be the next battleground area. This 518, 518.60, that is the 20-day SMA, okay? For the bulls to start extending this rally, and again, whether it's tomorrow or the next day, the bulls need to now reclaim back 518.60s on the close. If they can do so, then you have your next measure potential move to 522. But what we saw today, right? What we saw today was absolutely magical. I personally didn't think, just because of yesterday, how we closed and how the market got completely rejected off the PPI, I didn't think for hell that this day was going to come. Not too many of us had this 2.5% rally on our bingo cards. But again, this is why you're prepared on absolutely both sides. Now, the longer we stay now above the 50-day, it's going to be obviously the opposite of what happens when you fall below the 50-day. The longer you stay above the 50-day moving average, now you're going to have stocks play catch-up, trying to reclaim their own supply level. So let me give you guys some ideas of some stocks that are still stuck in their channels and some stocks that are got back above their channel. Sorry, I can't speak. So here's some names. Obviously, we talked about Tesla. It's way above their channel, right? Way above the channel. Now it just needs to confirm today's channel for a moonshot all the way into this supply area. Google, right? Google is above, right? Google is above. The cool thing about Google is Google never lost its 50-day moving average, not even close. And Google today reclaimed back the 5 and the 20-day cross. Again, that's a good thing. That's exactly what you want to see. Look at Amazon, right? Look at Amazon. Again, I'm just going to run through some of the beta names of the Magnificent Seven. I'm not going to go through the whole market. You can go through, depending how you trade, you can see a lot of names with the same similarities. So Amazon never gave up the 50-day moving average as well. So that's bullish. And as you can see here, Amazon stopped right at the 20-day supply. That's going to be a common theme of stocks that are kind of trying to get above their supply. And you can see here, it got rejected exactly the same area on the January 8th highs and the highs today. So what Amazon needs to do for tomorrow is get back above this 20-day moving average, and this thing can start waking up as well, right? So those are a couple of names that are above supply that don't need a lot of work to get going. Here's some names that do need some work, right? They absolutely need some work, and it's probably not going to take one day for them to get back above supply, but that's okay, right? That's why you're concentrating on the names that are above supply, looking to recapture higher and intermediate levels. So names, for example, like NVIDIA, needs a lot of work, right? You can see here, it needs a lot of work. All these trees in the forest dictate supply zones. And for me to get bullish on NVIDIA, it's going to need to reclaim back 140. Is it possible it can do that tomorrow? Hell, your guess is as good as mine. As this market has shown us, anything is possible. So before 140, I'm not really a buyer of NVIDIA, but at least we can see a viable level here where it needs to reclaim back the 50-day moving average to open up again. Look, for example, like Microsoft, right? Microsoft, if you guys remember, this was the first one who lost its 50-day moving average. It had a horrible, horrible time. And because of today's rally, as you can see here, it got rejected. See where it got rejected, right? It got rejected at the light blue line. That's the 50-day moving average. So it got rejected off the 50-day moving average. So what does Microsoft need to do? It needs to reclaim back the 50-day moving average. So if you go through a lot of names, right? If you go through a lot of names, you'll start seeing a lot of the similarities. The question is, can the bulls live with prosperity? And as I say it all the time, now that the bulls found love, right? Like the old Heavy D song, now that we found love, what are we gonna do with it, right? Now the bulls have found love. See, not only do you get some stock talk, you get some, anyway. So now that the bulls found some love, can we build on it? Even if tomorrow's a res day, can we build on that? That to be determined, but that is at least the way the market is going. Big vote, not necessarily a big vote, but it looks like TikTok, at least in the United States, will be shut down for U.S. users. Meta obviously is going to be the benefactor, right, of this news. But the way Meta's been trading up and down, up and down, up and down, this is really news price sensitive. So you could have a scenario tomorrow that, somebody else, another player potentially could bid on this TikTok version of the US, and Meta could go back the other way. So I'm kind of staying away from Meta until kind of this TikTok news is kind of definitive after Sunday. But at least it is really good to see the bulls kind of fought back today. And again, like I said, fighting back is an understatement. It was a pretty prolific rally, and like I've been saying for a long, long time, man. I want a bull market. Again, it's just so much easier. Guys, look what Tesla did today. The damn thing ran up $32. It ran up $7 in the last 45 minutes. We want that, right? It just feels so much better. But you know what feels even better? A big expansion day 2 run on Tesla as well. So again, guys, let's see what happens tomorrow. Kudos to the bulls. We got back above supply this time around. It only took 4 days versus the 11, 12 days it did in August versus the 13 months that we were underneath supply back in 2022. So kudos to the bulls. Kudos to the bears for taking advantage of earlier price action for the last week or so. And it really does prove, guys, everybody can coexist. You don't need to fight with anybody on the internet. You're a moron. You're a moron. You know what doesn't need to fight? Price action. Your opinion doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. Price action is king, and it'll always be king from now till eternity. Guys, God bless everybody. Hope everybody's doing great, and I'll catch you on the field tomorrow. Take care, everybody.